There's a poem that I remember hearing when I was a little kid, and it was about this young boy, and he's asked by someone how much he would give to add a couple days to his life. And because he's a little kid, and because he has so many years left of his life, he says he wouldn't give anything. And then the same guy is asked the same question when he's about middle-aged. And he says that he'd give a fair amount of money or something like that for some more years to his life. And then he's asked again when he's an old man how much he would give. And he says that, well, he would give everything. So that means that we only really start to value our time when we have very little of it left. So because of that, I want you to go and check your console right now. And typically on these modern consoles, you get this kind of number on there that tells you how many hours you've had the system powered on for, how many hours you've actually been playing video games for. So I want you to take that figure and divide it by 24. So let's say I've been on my system for 2,400 hours total. Divide that by 24. You get 100 days that I've actually been playing games for. 100 days of my life, of my short life that I've been playing video games for. So are you happy with that figure? If you're dying on your deathbed and you're an old man, like the guy in the poem, how much are you going to regret those 2,400 hours of video games for? How much of that will you look back on and positively remember? Will you regret playing them? Do you pay a fair sum of money to get those days back and actually fill them with stuff that you'd find meaningful once you were going to die? If that sounds like you, then this video, this guide is for you. So today I'm going to show you how to stop needing to play video games and still be excited about your life. I think withdrawing from video games, just kind of beating my addiction, was quite easy for me, because I'd say at about this time a year and a half ago, I was totally addicted to video games. I really just thought I had nothing better to do with my time, right? Like, we play video games because our life is boring and we think everything worth doing in life is basically out of reach. The only reason I came home from school and immediately started playing Minecraft or whatever is because I thought everything else in my life, that I could be doing with myself wasn't really achievable, or I had already done it, right? Like going outside and discovering stuff and going on adventures around my town or going for a bike ride, that all became old when I was a kid because I did it so many times. I thought that there was nothing else to really discover, nothing really else to see within my hometown. That kind of fits with the point of who I can be and what I can do in this simulated reality that is video games is a lot better than I am now, right? Like, who am I right now? Or who was I a year and a half ago? I was this completely depressed teenage kid, 20% body fat, almost no muscle mass. I had a terrible self-image. My skin was terrible. It was worse than it is now, believe me. I had no friends. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I didn't feel fulfilled at all. I wasn't working towards anything besides just maybe getting better grades in school than I was, which even then I barely cared about. But I had really no purpose, really no drive in life besides the respect and the status that I got from video games, which I played entirely by myself. I didn't even play them with friends. I just racked up these achievements by myself, and it was just completely depressing when I look back on it. It was like I hated myself. So I literally argued with my parents for hours about the fact that there was nothing else to do with myself besides play video games, and that they really shouldn't be telling me to stop playing video games if my life is just so boring, if they birthed me into this world and expecting me to just sit around and just kind of dwell in this one town, this one house that we lived in, and not really do anything with myself, right? Because I thought everything had already been discovered. I thought that there was nothing else to do with myself. And that's really the limiting belief about video game addictions, is that we think everything to be discovered in the real world, everything that we can do in the real world is either out of reach for us, right? Like I could go on an all expenses paid month-long tour of Europe, but I don't have the money and I don't have the time because I'm in school and I'm broke, right? I can't do that. So why bother pursuing it? Either that, either we use that excuse for not being able to do things, or we just think we've already done everything that there is to be done in our current lives, right? Like, why go outside if I know what outside is already like? Why else would I? What's there to find there? Why would I do it if I already know what to expect? So the solution to this is to add more to your real life, so you willingly subtract video games, right? Because you have two lives. You have your life outside of video games. You have this life, and then you have your life inside of video games. You have your identity. You have you are there. You have who you are there inside video games, right? In video games, I might be this amazing architect, or I might be a dragon slayer, or I might be this brave warrior who goes and does crazy stuff every day. But in real life, I might just be a chump. So the solution is to add more to your life outside of the screen. That's basically what the equation is here. Adding more to my real life is going to subtract more from my artificial life. It's going to make my artificial life less interesting, basically. So how did I do this? How did I discover the world more? How did I have less of a want for gaming? Well, I started going to the gym. I started reading more books, like a lot of books. I actually started reading nonfiction, which is something I had never done before. I started listening and watching low dopamine videos, like long form YouTube videos, podcasts, kind of detaching my brain from this need for constant stimulation. I'll talk about that later. And finding new hobbies, like I remember going for a lot of long distance runs because I thought that they were good for burning fat. They actually aren't, but I don't regret doing them anyways. They made me into who I am today. And they really took up a lot of my time, and I think they made up a lot of my character in those days. So yeah, I took up running. I took up flipping stuff on eBay. I actually tried that for a while. It's a decent business model, but yeah, I also took up cooking too. So I got more hobbies. My life with this screen off became more engaging, so I had less of a need for these virtual adventures that I was taking, where I was just sitting in this chair, just staring at a screen, trying to increase my status there while I was just completely perishing in the real world. So if you pair that addition principle with dopamine detox, or rewiring your brain not to need this constant stimulation, then I think it's quite easy, because I had, not to sound arrogant, but I had a very, very easy time compared to most guys withdrawing from video games, right? Because you play video games because you have to. You feel like you have to. Your subconscious brain demands the extra stimulation that it's already used to. This is what we call the dopamine baseline. I think Andrew Huberman talks about this a lot. He's like the number one guy on the YouTube space for this. But basically, let's say before you're ever exposed to video games, you're like a little kid, you play outside, your dopamine is down here. This is your baseline. If you go above here, you're stimulated. If you go below here, you're bored. But this is just you normally as a little kid. When you start playing video games, it goes up, it goes up, it goes up, and then you stop playing video games for a while and it's up here. This is your new baseline, right? Anything below here, like going outside or just sitting around, and you're bored. So again, you keep playing video games, you play more and more intense stuff, you keep making progress in video games, you're up here now, right? And anything below here doesn't satisfy you anymore. You're like constantly bored. You're constantly thinking about video games. You can't even pay attention in class because your brain is just so overstimulated. It's like you have ADHD, and maybe you have to be put on Ritalin or something. And this is where pretty much everyone who plays video games right now is at. Same thing with social media or anything that's just going to give you an insane amount of dopamine that you shouldn't even be exposed to in a single day. Like, it's literally just going to fry your brain in the long term. So yeah, this is where everyone is. And the goal with dopamine detox is to bring it back down here. bring it back like way down here, so that much more stuff actually gets you excited, much more stuff actually makes you happy. There's so many more things that you can do to feel fulfilled in life. So let me take a look at my notes here. You set a very high baseline for yourself by this constant gaming that you've been doing for the past couple of years, right? Like, don't deny it. So you have to undergo basically this withdrawal period, or a time of intense want to play video games despite you not having them. You see this all the time with heroin addicts, right? Like, these are two very different things, video game addiction and heroin addiction, but in fact, they're actually very similar, because what does a heroin addict do when they don't have any heroin to do, when they're in rehab and they're undergoing withdrawal symptoms? It's honestly quite painful. It's honestly quite painful from what I know about heroin withdrawal. But basically, they get this kind of cold. They start shaking. They start hallucinating. It's very painful to withdraw from heroin because your body is experiencing such a deficit of this amazing drug that always made you feel happy and always made you feel positive. So when you don't have it, it's like reality sets in, and it's like you can't even handle it. Same thing with video games. When you delete your save files, when you factory reset your system, which I'll talk about later, but you should do. When you do that, you're going to realize that life is actually quite boring. And when that happens, you're going to want to play video games again. But the real improvement here, the real dopamine reset, is going to happen when you just don't play video games, when you refuse to, when you just stop listening to your overstimulated brain, your ADHD brain, and you start listening to your rational brain that's telling you to stay down here, because that's going to make you more happy in the long term. In the long term, sorry. So eventually, if you choose to engage in the real world and keep the dopamine detox, so like what I do for dopamine detox is I take a cold shower every morning. I keep my phone on grayscale. I only listen to long form podcasts and YouTube videos that have like minimal editing to them. So just like, Jocko podcast, Joe Rogan, that kind of stuff with minimal editing, where it's just people talking for like 2 or 3 hours. And I also get like the education, and I kind of get to share in the smarts of whoever's talking in those videos too. So that's kind of a plus. So yeah, those are some of the things I do for dopamine detox. If I missed any, I'll list them somewhere on the screen. But yeah, you're gonna get a constant high out of life if you keep doing this. Like, just from working out, just hitting the gym, it feels amazing once you're on dopamine detox for a while. Like, I actually get energy from working out. I find it like one of the funnest things in the world, where I'm just doing some push-ups, and it's like I'm super happy. It's like the weirdest thing ever, but that's what happens when you reset your dopamine. Taking a walk on a beautiful day, that's like one of the best experiences in life. Talking to a loved one, or even climbing a tree, like just being engaged in nature, living like a human being should. It's so powerful. There's just so many benefits to it. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. But yeah, those are the benefits of dopamine detox, mixed with actually choosing to do real meaningful things, not on a screen, like outside in the real world. So some limiting beliefs, or actually the limiting belief about quitting video games, is that, well, if I relapse today, then all my progress on resetting my dopamine and trying to have a life actually just goes away. Which, that's actually not true. It's all right if you do relapse on video games. It's all right if you do like play Minecraft for like another hour a week from now, after you actually try and commit to this, right? Like, you see this video, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna completely quit video games. I'm never gonna play it again. And then maybe like you don't play them for 3 days. You actually try and follow my advice, but maybe you're out of schedule like 3 days from now. Something goes wrong, and all of a sudden you find yourself wanting to play video games, and then you give into that desire. You're not going to lose all your progress if you actually do give into that desire. What matters is that you schedule your time, you schedule your days, so that you're not devoting any time to video games. Basically, you're almost too busy with just having a life and being happy and doing stuff that makes you happy outside of video games to to actually give yourself any time to even play them because you don't want to anymore. So yeah, another piece of advice for quitting video games very effectively is just go to every single console you own, turn it on, and factory reset it, right? Doing a factory reset is basically just deleting all the progress that you've made on your console. You're deleting your account, you're deleting your save files, you're just completely wiping it so that your console is basically brand new. It's like how you bought it, where there's basically no data on it that you can go off of next time you even want to play video games. So that's what like the top 1% are going to do here. That's what the smartest guys watching this, I guarantee you, are going to do right now. They're going to go to every system that they own before they have a second thought, and they're going to delete all the progress. They're going to factory reset it. Yeah, that's what the most successful guys are going to do when they watch this. And then after that, they're going to go and sell their systems online. They're going to make an auction on eBay, and they're going to basically sell their systems to the highest bidder, and they're going to make like $300 off of that alone. So yeah, that's how you turn the bad situation of being addicted to video games into a good one, by selling everything that you own that has to do with video games. So once it's out of sight, the point of this is that once it's out of sight, it actually stays out of your mind. So if you can't do that, at least keep the gaming console like in your closet or something. Just keep it out of your field of vision. Just keep it out of your field of vision within your house. Just hide it somewhere so that you don't see it, and because you don't see it, you don't think about it. That's what worked for me. I hope it'll work for you. But I relapsed like so few times on gaming because I kept like all my systems, all my video game systems, just in my closet for a year, and I just never thought about them because I was so busy with other stuff, and they just weren't even in my field of vision. So I just never thought of them. That's just how my brain works. I don't know if it's gonna be the same for you, but it's worth a shot. Another point is that it doesn't matter how many days you go without video games for. It just actually matters how bad you actually need them for happiness or for fulfillment. So one major point of this video is that the more that you rely on video games, the more power they have over you. So there's this book called The Rational Male by Rollo Tomassi. It's a pretty great book for relationships, but he talks about one rule that's called the cardinal rule of relationships. So that rule is whoever needs the other person more has less power within a relationship, or whoever needs the other person less has more power in the relationship. Whoever is relying on the other person for intimacy or for satisfaction or for money, whoever needs the other person more is the weaker one in the relationship. So the less that you need video games for entertainment or for fulfillment or for purpose, the more you need those things out of video games, the more that you get those things out of video games, the more dependent you are on video games, and the more power video games actually have over you. So you're going to want to get those things from other places. It might have to be religion, or it might have to be other people. It just has to be something else other than video games if you want to quit them, because video games actually have power over you if you're going to them for these things. So you just got to completely detach yourself from them. So yeah, that's kind of the cardinal rule for quitting video games. So what you can do right now, your actionable step for this video, is to go get a hobby. It can be anything. It can be making paper mache hats. It can be selling stuff on eBay. It can be reading books. It can be whatever. Just something that you enjoy doing that isn't a video game, that isn't, pixelized stimulation. So you also should go on an adventure every single day. And what I mean by going on an adventure is going for a walk around town and maybe going down a street that you've never seen before, or going to the creek in your town and just throwing some sticks in the water and seeing where they go. or going to a restaurant and talking to a person that you've never seen before just to better your social skills. But yes, go today and do something that you've never done before. And that's actually very easy, right? Like I could walk 100 meters from my house and talk to someone that I've never seen before, and that would be acceptable as an adventure. Or I could go and walk across a field that I've never seen before, or that I've never stepped on before, and that would be considered an adventure. It's like unlocking kind of this new area within your town that you've never even seen before. It's like you're an explorer. It's like you've discovered this new land that you've never even seen before. It's like the greatest feeling ever once you do it, believe me. So yeah, just go and try that out. One last thing that you can do, it's gonna hurt, but just go ahead and reset all your systems and sell them on eBay. I cannot stress enough how much that's actually gonna benefit you. It's gonna make you money, and it's gonna make you free again. It's exactly what I did. I made about $500 just selling my video game systems on eBay, and I've never seen them since, and I've never even needed them since. So yeah, I'd say that was very good for me. I recommend you do the same. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Like and subscribe if you really want to, and if you enjoyed this, go watch my other videos on cleaning up your life and finding meaning. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.